These are your trigger warnings for this episode. It's basically just rape. I just say the word and I just said it again. So if you're triggered, you're already triggered.
It's rape and pedophilia.
Pedophilia?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. So if you don't like that, if you're sensitive to that...
You better not like that.
No, please don't like that. Please turn this off and report yourself to the police and skip B's story.
Okay.
As you can tell, this is going to go great for you guys. Here is episode 36.
Whee!
How awful.
It's a car, it's a car, it's a car in the background. It's a car, car.
It's always a car.
In cars. That's that 80s song. Do. Here in my car, I'm as safe as can be.
Oh, yeah.
In cars, do.
Guys.
I took a BuzzFeed music quiz. Oh, we have wine.
Guys.
What?
We really needed wine.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Today from Vino.
Yes.
You took a BuzzFeed quiz?
I took a BuzzFeed music quiz today. You make a 10-song playlist and they guess your age. They thought I was 48.
You're not?
No. I'm 57.
57.
It thought I was 48 based off of my music preferences.
I feel like that's not fair.
That's not even in the ballpark of my age.
They would be like, you are 71 for me because I listen to the Beatles a lot. I listen to the Bee Gees.
That wasn't an option. For the options were all like 90s and early millennium songs.
You're like, yeah, that's my nostalgia.
But I picked like Gavin DeGraw and Howie Day and I picked all the mom songs, probably. Yeah, because the other ones were like Thong Song and Hit 'Em Up Style, and I didn't pick those.
Adult contemporary.
We listened to adult contemporary when we were children.
Yes. You know, I was talking about this at work yesterday because I was wearing a Beatles t-shirt.
Right.
And somebody that I work with was like, oh, good taste or something. It was like an older gentleman that I work with. He was like, good taste.
Or what others refer to as just taste.
And I laughed and I was like, you know, it's funny because he was talking about how his son was raised on the Beatles and how like his son is probably a little bit younger than us. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, my son listens to all that music and it's cool because he's younger and it's interesting that he listens to that. And I was like, what's interesting is my family did not raise me on that.
No.
It was like Celine Dion, Michael Jackson, and George Michael.
Yes.
That's what I listened to in my house. And I thought Michael Jackson and George Michael were the same person because they both were called Michael.
Right.
So I didn't know the difference.
I gotta give my mom props because growing up, I thought her music was so lame. I always hated it when she decided she was playing the music, always.
Yeah.
And now as an adult, mom listened to Phil Collins all the time. Janet Jackson. I liked listening to Janet Jackson.
My mom did listen to Janet Jackson too. I'll give her that. And Mariah Carey.
And
good.
Michael Bolton, which, har if you must. Michael Bolton is a treasure.
He's very good.
He is so good. And yes, I listen to Michael Bolton alone in my vehicle.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, to my own credit, I had to discover the Beatles.
Yeah, you had to create your own music taste all on your own. Otherwise, it just would have been Chris Botti, Yanni, and Celine Dion.
Yanni was popular.
Yanni was a big one.
I also really loved the Cirque du Soleil soundtrack.
Why did your parents play the song Funky Town so much in your house?
I don't even remember what song you're talking about.
Won't you take me to Funky Town?
Oh, I probably played that song.
Oh, okay. It was on your it was in your jukebox. Yes, they had an actual jukebox, guys.
I think it was probably in the Now playlist. And
no, it was like an album.
Oh. My parents would often buy albums for a single.
Yeah, I think it was like a Funky Town album. It was called Funky Town, and it was like 70 songs. It had like Donna Summers and stuff, because Last Dance was on there. Mom always played that.
My mom is a big fan of disco.
Yes.
So she loved Donna Summers. Like that was one of her ultimate favorites.
Last Dance, the Last Dance.
Yes.
Always played in your house.
Yeah. So I would go.
Bad Girl. Your mom loves that song.
And I would punch in the songs that I knew in the jukebox. And I was like 11, 12 years old. So I definitely played Funky Town.
Oh, yeah. We played a lot of Funky Town.
Because I was like, this is fun. Yeah, I loved ABBA.
Yes, there was ABBA in the jukebox.
ABBA was in the jukebox. I mean,
I remember thinking your house
Dancing Queen
was so cool because you had a jukebox.
There's also Ace of Base. My mom did listen to Ace of Base. That was good.
My mom did not. My mom didn't like have 90s, like a 90s group or person that she listened to.
We would just
Other than like Janet and Michael, I guess, were kind of 90s.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
That's why Dangerous is my favorite Michael Jackson album.
Yeah.
Because it's the one that brings me the most nostalgia, because that was the album that we had in Montreal in the summer. It was like next to our CD player, and I would play that album a lot because I really liked that album.
It was Janet, like the album Janet.
Yes,
where
with her full face.
No, it's yes.
Oh, yeah.
You're thinking Velvet Rope. This is the one where she's
it's
in
like
the jeans.
Sepia tone?
Yes, but she's in the jeans and the dude's holding her boobs.
Yes, and it's sepia tone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I think the back is like a close up of her face. Maybe the front is. Maybe the back was the boobs.
Yeah.
I just remember my mom buying that album and thinking she had to hide the CD booklet because of Nathan, who was going through puberty at that time. And she looked like that.
Yeah.
But I also remember her saying that she was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my whole life.
Oh, man.
We're talking about music and mixtapes again, guys.
You know what we didn't do?
What?
Who are you?
I'm B.
I'm Tanya Lee. Welcome to the How Awful Podcast.
Yeah.
Where actually, you know what? We got a comment on TikTok.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need to shut up because this girl on TikTok said this would be a good podcast if it weren't for all the damn banter.
Which I'd like to think that that's why people come here. There is like, there's like a genre of podcast.
Yeah.
That's like true crime plus banter.
Plus friends.
Yeah. And that is the category of our podcast, plus other weird shit.
Yes, exactly.
So
it's like,
you get true crime and ghosts.
If you're just wanting story time, then may I suggest just reading Wikipedia yourself.
Yes.
Lady on TikTok.
I mean, I was pleased that she even listened.
Tanya responded to her very, very cordially, and which is good because I do not have that type of, I guess, self-restraint. I wanted to be like, oh, okay, one lady, we will forever not banter just because you told us to shut up. Thank you.
I was just like...
My favorite thing she said was she called it unnecessary banter, but yet her unasked for comment was necessary. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, which, I mean, here's how my brain works. Is when I see a comment like that, I think that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I say that,
entitled. Yeah.
It's not going to do anything. It's just going to piss somebody off. And I was just kind of like, I was more pleased that she got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd
be like, oh, she gets it. It's banter.
She gets it. That's exactly what our podcast is.
I'm going to effing laugh if she makes another comment. And if she like hears this, it's like, because there's always those people that like, I hate this and I'm going to keep listening to it so I can keep commenting on how much I don't like this.
Yes.
I'm just curious to see if she's one of those ladies. Don't be one of those ladies. You can listen to anything else.
But yeah, anyway, we have a TikTok now.
Yeah, we do, guys.
We've been talking about this TikTok frequently, but please go follow us at How Awful Podcast. Yeah. We post a lot of assistance. The TikTok is basically like promos plus assistance.
Yeah, and there's some good ones, I'll admit.
But yeah,
you're doing a good job.
I mean, this is like beginner TikTok, so bear with me. But I'm learning.
So what?
Before we get into that, we got an email.
We did? Oh my God, I need to check that more.
Guess from who?
Do we know this person?
Not personally.
Not personally?
Not personally.
I don't know who.
Our friends Lizzie and Sophie.
What do you mean we don't know them? We know them. They're our pals, Lizzie and Sophie.
Old pals. So there's kind of like a two-parter, so I figured we can alternate.
Okay.
I did the same thing that I did the last time, which I skimmed. I did not read them.
I mean, I didn't read it at all.
So I'm sorry if you're bearing with a first reading, but I kind of like to live react when I read the stories. Yes. I just read the first tidbit.
Well, we're going to test some wine and see if it's gone bad, guys.
You're so strong.
I didn't want that cork anyway.
Well, Moosh is going to
eat we'll have a little taste.
I have no range of like where you are in comparison to these microphones. So
you just like kind of did this.
Shot my glass towards you, and I was like, I hope this reaches.
All right, wait. Swirl, right? Sniff.
Why am I? Oh, I'm using my left hand.
This smells like nothing. This is Stateside Cellars Sauvignon Blanc. It might have gone bad.
It smells not bad, just kind of oaky.
It tastes fine.
Here's the thing. It's not going to hurt you if it goes bad. It just might not taste good. So
it's not going to hurt us?
No, just gobble it up.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
All right, dope. I always feel really cool when I say dope.
Dope. I say it way too much lately, and I 100% blame Timothy Chalamet.
Dope. So the email starts off with, "Hey B and Tanya Lee." Woo! They used our full names.
Full names. That's my given name. My brother used my given name, if you guys caught it.
I might have cut it out.
You didn't.
I didn't?
No, and it's fine.
Oh,
it's fine. It is what it is.
Couldn't agree more about baby monitors.
Creepy.
The movie Signs definitely escalated their creep factor. You know what's creepier than normal baby monitors, though?
Video.
Those damn night vision video ones.
Yes.
Yes. They're extra creepy as fuck. Also, in total agreement about kids being eerie little beings. So this week's episode made me think of some things to share.
Yay!
Let's begin with a baby monitor story.
Let us have it, Lizzie. I know it's Lizzie. Lizzie writes the emails.
Yeah, Lizzie does. Lizzie's the author.
Yes.
My nephew Decker was only 3 months old when my mom passed. He was her second grandbaby, first grandson, and my brother's first child. So my mom had been super excited for him to come into this world. Shortly after Mom passed, my sister-in-law had started hearing things over his baby monitor that was beside his bed.
No. Oh, I just got goosebumps in my hair.
He had this plastic, battery-operated nursery rhyme book.
No!
Oh, no. Okay. That when you hit a button, it would sing-song the nursery rhyme. I hate this.
No.
On the page.
No.
And when you turn the page and press the button, it'd play the nursery rhyme and so on and so forth. Oh my God, I hate this. We all know where this is going.
We all know.
At night, this book would go off. It wasn't in Decker's crib. It was on the floor. Some nights, my sister-in-law would hear 3 knocks on the wall.
What?
While the various nursery rhymes were going off. However, the minute Decker would start fussing during these things happening, everything would stop. So once he started fussing, they would stop. After countless nights of hearing this, and my brother being wicked weirded out by it. Yeah, I know.
Oh my God. Are you from the Oh wow. They're from the Massachusetts, Boston area.
Yes. We remember.
Wicked smart.
Wicked smart. Sorry.
Sorry.
We're not sorry.
Love you guys, but you're wicked
when
smart.
When you come to LA, we will get together and we will make fun.
And we'll have a Dunkin'.
Yeah. There's a couple here.
Yeah, and we are from the Northwest. Not Northwest.
Where are we from? We're from the Midwest?
Midwest.
I'm from the North.
Where Illinois is actually located is the freaking East. But anyway. We also love Dunkin' there.
So.
Go ahead, sorry.
After countless nights of hearing this and her brother being wicked weirded out by it.
Wicked weird.
Her sister-in-law decided to turn the book off. There was a switch in the back of it that you slid on the side that turned it off.
That switch don't work.
That night, after putting Decker to bed, my sister-in-law and brother were laying in bed when they started to hear the nursery rhyme book singing out different nursery rhymes.
Then it's programmed to do?
I believe so.
No.
I'm not sure if that's...
Please clarify.
Cannot confirm, but I'm going to pretend like that's the truth because that's what I do.
Nope.
My brother, I just
Make it up.
I take the truth and I exaggerate it because it's way more entertaining that way.
Fine.
My brother asked her, "You turned that off, didn't you?" And my sister-in-law...
I just nervous burped, I'm sorry.
My sister-in-law replied that she was certain she had. So, to double-check, my sister-in-law went down into Decker's room and found the book where she had left it. She picked it up and turned it over, and wouldn't you know it, the switch on the back was still slid to the side that said, off. Pretty sure that was the last night that the singing nursery rhyme book was in their house. I'm going to let you read the next paragraph.
Where is it?
It's at the top.
Okay. Damn. Okay. Now for the creepy kid tales. Mm-hmm. I'm a firm believer that kids can definitely see things that adults cannot. I don't know if it's because their minds have that naive, innocent quality to them and they haven't had that skepticism instilled in them that the world/society places in you when you grow older. Amen. Or if it's because they just have an innate sixth sense. It's a mystery.
Petition for imaginations to continue.
Building a mystery. I have a theory that it's because they're so new to this realm, we'll call it a realm, that they're still kind of connected to the one before it. so they can still see the other side. They haven't grown up enough to be disconnected from it. And some of us never fully disconnect. Hi, me.
That's fair.
Regardless, they know things and see things that are sometimes unexplainable. For instance, when Sophie was little, like 4-ish, she used to tell her mom that she played with 2 little boys that only she could see. She described one as having black, kind of curly hair, that he was in a, quote, special orange chair, and that he couldn't really talk. And the other boy looked a lot like one of her cousins. Stop, it might be a wheelchair. Don't laugh.
No, I'm laughing because I relate.
Oh, yeah, I know. And the other boy looked a lot like one of her cousins, and he had black hair, too. My mom instantly had a feeling who these little boys were, and she couldn't believe it. My nan, my mom's mom, had been a foster mom for a good part of her life, and during her years of fostering, she fostered this little boy who was intellectually disabled from something that had happened to him when he was an infant, and he was non-ambulatory and non-verbal. When he couldn't walk, he had this special foam low-sitting scoot chair. He had 2, actually. One was blue, and one was orange. I remember spending a lot of time with him when I had been little. I used to like to sit with him and read him stories or sit next to him and hold his hand when my mom would feed him. He was such a sweet, sweet soul. Unfortunately, due to respiratory issues that he had, he was quite prone to getting really bad cases of pneumonia, and in February of 1994, he passed away due to complications of this.
Oh.
Sophie wasn't born until 2005, therefore she wouldn't have ever met him. As for the second little boy that she talked about, that's even eerier. The second little boy she described, my mom felt would have only been her nephew, her older sister's firstborn, who had been born in the late 70s in England. Ah, there's the mum. Mm-hmm. Sadly, though, he only had lived a few short hours after being born. The fact that Sophie had told our mom that this second little boy looked a lot like her cousin really had my mom taken aback, because the cousin that Sophie had been referring to was none other than the grandson of the sister.
Oh.
My mom couldn't explain how she would even know about these boys, because no one that Sophie had daily interactions with really talked about them. So there really wasn't any explainable reason that Sophie would know who they were, especially at 4. Interesting tidbit, though, at the time Sophie talked about them, my mom and her were actually staying with my uncle, who is my mom's adopted brother, and who was the brother of the little boy my nana had fostered. And my uncle happened to have a picture of his brother on the wall, and one day Sophie noticed it and pointed at it and exclaimed to our mom, "Mummy, that's him. That's the little boy I played with who is in the orange chair."
Oh my God, chills. Oh my God.
Another example of kids and their strange abilities is when my nephew from the baby monitor story first started talking. My brother and sis-in-law had this frame on the wall that had various pictures of people in it. One day she was pointing at pictures of herself and my brother saying to Decker, "That's Mama, that's Dada." She went to point to this picture of my mom to tell him who it was, and before she could even utter the word, Decker smiled and went, "Nana." He also told my sis-in-law that Nana was in the parking lot of Walmart once, and as they were pulling out of the lot, he was waving out the window saying, "Bye, Nana, bye." When he was a little older, like 3 or 4, he told my sis-in-law that he had a little brother up in the sky and that his name was Edward. My sis-in-law got choked up because before she got pregnant with her daughter in 2015, she'd suffered a miscarriage the year before. Oh. Decker was only 2 at the time of the miscarriage, therefore he wouldn't have been able to fully understand what it meant. Nonetheless, he wouldn't have known that my brother and sis-in-law had discussed names and that if the baby was a boy, they were planning on using the middle name Edwin if it had been a boy.
Oh my God.
Anyways, I just thought I'd share these. I don't mind if you share these, nor does my sister-in-law. The only thing is I'm not 100% if intellectually disabled is the correct terminology. It is. I looked it up last week when talking about an individual who would be considered special needs. So if you happen to know a better term, please feel free to replace. No, that's correct.
What
and
is it?
I don't want to offend any of your listeners by not using the proper terminology. Intellectually disabled.
Oh, okay, great. Don't worry, we don't get a lot of offended emails.
No.
So I'm sure
we only had one,
stuff.
And it wasn't it wasn't an offense, it was a correction.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
It was a teaching moment.
And she ended it with saying, "As always, thank you both so much for creating something wonderful and giving your listeners something to look forward to every week. Lizzie and Sophie," parentheses, "who told me we needed to share the baby monitor story after they were discussed in episode 34. LOL.
Oh, snap.
Well, Sophie, you made Lizzie do it, and she did not disappoint yet again. I swear we need to have a whole episode with Lizzie and Sophie.
I know, we might need to zoom them in at some
Yeah, we
point.
might need to.
Whew.
That was a good way to start off.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to kick it. I had figured you didn't know that we got an email.
I did not know.
Because you didn't say anything to me.
No, and I typically check like once or twice a week, and I've been slacking on it.
I keep it open on my tabs all the time.
You know what we also didn't do? We did not post my mom's assistance. So we need to do that.
Yeah, we'll post them.
She sent us pictures and we didn't post them.
Maybe we can do them for... No, I wanted to shout out Chrissy Teigen tomorrow. So apparently Chrissy Teigen loves...
murder podcasts.
So I want everybody to...
Tag us.
Tell Chrissy Teigen to listen to us so she can be on our show.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
She would never.
She would never, but I don't care. I'm going to pretend like she can. Just like Harry Styles will never be on our show.
No, he'll never be on any show. He won't even be on the show of people he knows.
Ugh.
Anyway.
There
were pictures of him kissing a woman today, and I was aghast.
A whole ass girl.
I ignored it. I was like, I see nothing. I am blind. You only kiss Olivia Wilde in this house, sir.
That's it. You're taken.
You're taken, man. Anyway. We have topics. We should probably get to them.
Should probably dive in.
What? You had celebrity deaths.
I sure did.
And I had true crime.
True crime?
Yes.
No, you did.
Yeah, I did. So you should go ahead.
I'm going first, right?
You're going first.
Yeah.
Because I ruined everyone's day going first last time.
Okay, I'm not going to preface this one. I'm just going to dive in.
My mom said I hurt her sads too. So it was
you hurt everyone's sads, I bet.
I'm so sorry.
I'm going to take a poll. Whose hurts? Yeah. Whose sads were hurts?
Jamie texted me that her soul was vomiting listening to this episode.
Yes, if you haven't listened.
Win, score.
If you haven't listened to the last episode.
Yeah. Go hurt your sads.
You better go hurt your sads and then come back.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
All right.
Deaths. Don't preface. Whew. Here we go.
On September 30th, 1955.
Okay.
Not who you thought I was going to pick?
No, I was like 1950. No, I didn't have any guesses.
Oh, you looked like you were
I was just like,
I've decided, nope.
This is like before my time. Got it.
So we're in 1955, September 30th.
Got it.
On Highway 46.
Oh, okay.
Near Cholame, California.
Yep.
A tragic collision.
Yep.
Between a Porsche 550 Spider and a Ford Tudor sedan ended the life of 24-year-old, soon-to-be megastar, James Byron Dean.
Soon-to-be? He didn't even hit fame until after he died?
Correct.
Wow.
And I'll get into that. Born on February 8th, 1931, to Winton and Mildred Dean in Marion, Indiana. Deanin.
Winton, not Winston?
Winton.
Brief pause. Fun fact, a lot of people think that James Dean died on Mulholland.
Mm-mm.
He did not.
Mm-mm.
Nowhere near Mulholland.
Very far from here.
Very far.
James was an only child, like myself. After leaving, if you can't tell.
Can't relate.
After leaving farming and becoming a dentist, James's father, Winton, moved them out to Santa Monica, California.
His name is really bothering me.
Excuse me?
You got a message.
Okay. After leaving farming and becoming a dentist, James's father, Winton, moved them out to Santa Monica, California. Dean was very close to his mother, Mildred. He claimed she was the only person capable of understanding him. At the age of 9, Dean lost his mother to uterine cancer. Unable to care for his son, Dean's father sent him to live with his aunt and uncle, Hortense and Marcus Winslow.
Hortense?
Mm-hmm, that was her name.
I really don't like these people's names because they're one letter off from an actual name. Winton is just one letter off from Winston. Hortense is one letter off from Hortense.
I know.
And I don't like any of it. I object.
Indiana, man. Let's ask Joey about that. We're not going to call him. Don't get excited. Hey, what's with the names from Indiana? Anyway, so James was sent to live on their farm in Fairmont, Indiana, where he was raised in a Quaker household. Which
like
I didn't.
If Joey's name was Owie.
I do call him Yoey quite often.
That is just Mexican Joey.
No, it's because he's Jewish and Joseph.
Oh, right.
Is Jewish for Joseph.
Right.
Do you know what a Quaker is?
Yes, I know what a Quaker is.
Okay. For those that don't know, I didn't write it down, so I'm just kind of riffing.
Yeah, go
here.
ahead.
Quakers are basically like religious hippies.
Yeah, not the oats.
No, they're actually kind of good.
Yeah.
I don't actually know. I'm sure that there's problems with them that I haven't discovered. But
we're not doing a deep dive on Quakers.
No, but they believe in equality.
Ooh.
And they're really big on human rights, like huge on human rights. They're very liberal.
It's awesome when humans are all for human rights.
Yeah, right? Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's so crazy.
A lot of people are not.
I know.
So knowing this information, I think, is important to understanding James Dean.
Yeah.
Is that he was raised in this kind of household.
Got it.
With his aunt and uncle.
He was a quirky MFer.
Yes. As a teenager, Dean pursued a friendship with a local Methodist pastor, Reverend James DeWeird. These names, man.
Man, DeWeird?
Yes.
Love it.
This reverend had a formative influence on Dean, especially his future interests in bullfighting, car racing, and theater.
Bullfighting?
Yes, bullfighting.
Cool. Okay, yes. Sure.
According to Billy J. Harbin, Dean had an, quote, intimate relationship with his pastor.
What?
Which began in his senior year of high school and endured for many years, end quote.
Oh, right. There is that rumor that James Dean was...
yes.
Of the persuasion.
I'll get into that.
There are
some...
Theories.
There are some things on that.
Okay.
Their alleged sexual relationship was suggested in Paul Alexander's 1994 book called Boulevard of Broken Dreams, The Life, Times, and Legend of James Dean. Okay.
It's Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Oh, right, yeah. In 2011, it was reported that Dean once confided in Elizabeth Taylor that he was sexually abused by a minister approximately 2 years after his mother's death.
Yep, that's in her... She spoke about that to a biographer.
Yes. Other reports on Dean's life also suggest that he was either sexually abused by DeWeird as a child or had a sexual relationship with him as a late teenager.
Okay.
Either way, inappropriate on the Reverend's part. Not on James's part, let's be clear. After graduating from Fairmont High School in 1949, he moved back to California with his good doggo, Max.
Good doggo.
Yes. With his good assistant, Max.
He's a good assistant.
Melissa?
Oh.
Hi.
He was very alert.
Are you guarding the palace?
Is it palace?
Yes, this is our palace. So he moved back to California with good doggo Max to live with his father.
Got it.
He majored in pre-law at Santa Monica College, but transferred to UCLA for one whopping semester.
A whole ass semester.
And changed his major to drama.
The theater.
Yes, which actually resulted in estrangement from his father, who did not support James pursuing an acting career.
I knew that from the James Franco movie.
Yes.
James Dean.
I actually have not seen that.
James does a very good job for an absolute creep.
I was going to say, I don't know if I want to now that James Franco has been confirmed creep.
They're all a confirmed creep.
Yes.
You have to separate the creep from the art, or there's just no art anymore.
Yeah, I know, right? This is why we can't have nice things.
No,
Men. While at UCLA, Dean was picked from a group of 350 actors to portray Malcolm in Macbeth. He also began acting school in James Whitmore's workshop. In January 1951, he dropped out of UCLA to pursue a full-time career as an actor. Dean kicked off his career with small roles in a Pepsi commercial, an Easter TV special dramatizing the resurrection of Jesus.
Nice.
And movies such as Fixed Boynets.
What? I'm sorry, what?
I might have said that wrong. I don't know that word.
What?
Fixed Boynets.
Please show me the word.
Boynets.
Might be bayonets.
Boynets.
Boynets. I don't know.
Sailor beware. And has anybody seen my gal?
I haven't seen her.
While struggling to land bigger roles, Dean was working as a parking attendant at CBS Studios, where he met director Rogers Brackett, who offered him career advice and a place to stay.
Because he's fine.
Brackett produced a movie called Alias Jane Doe, which starred James Dean. After that, Brackett encouraged Dean to move to New York, where he inevitably worked as a stunt tester for a game show called Beat the Clock. He was fired for performing the tasks too quickly. You're too good. Gotta go.
Then I would get fired because I work too fast.
Same. Eventually, he was admitted to the Actors Studio to study method acting with Lee Strasberg, the one and only.
The one and only Lee Strasberg.
Yes, in which he was the youngest to ever be admitted. This led him to land more acting roles, and in 1953, is he not now?
Yes, now.
In 1953, director ELIA KAZAN said he wanted to cast a Brando for a role in his new movie, East of Eden.
Is it Elia or is it Elia?
Elia.
Elia, okay. I never knew.
All my film school
Elia
knowledge and studying.
Elia KAZAN, not Elia
KAZAN.
KAZAN. Okay.
Elia KAZAN. I'm pretty sure. I'll be embarrassed if I'm wrong. Yeah, he wanted to cast a Brando type for a role in his new movie, East of Eden, based on John Steinbeck's novel. Steinbeck met with James, did not like him, but felt he was perfect fit. He was a perfect fit for the role regardless. Most of Dean's performance was improvised, But the best-known improvisation happened when his character, Cal, his father, rejects his monetary gift. Instead of running away from his father as the script called for, Dean instinctively turned to Massey and in a gesture of extreme emotion lunged forward and grabbed him in a full embrace, crying. KAZAN kept this and Massey's shocked reaction in the film. Dean's performance foreshadowed his role as Jim Stark in Rebel Without a Cause.
Ugh, I love that movie.
Both characters are angst-ridden protagonists and misunderstood outcasts, desperately craving approval from their fathers. This was also the birth of the teenager.
Yeah.
Teenagers were not really like...
They weren't depicted in film.
No,
really.
They were not depicted in film, and they weren't called teenagers. They were called young adults.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I think about the 40s and 50s that teenager became a word.
Have you seen Rebel Without a Cause? Mm-hmm. Love it.
I've also seen East of Eden.
I don't know if I have. That's with Liz, isn't it?
No.
No, she's in another one of his movies. Okay.
I don't remember.
I think he did. Go ahead.
Anyway, she might have been in Giant, but I'm not sure.
She is in Giant.
Yeah, that's the one. East of Eden was the only film starring Dean that he would see released in his lifetime.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In recognition of his performance in East of Eden, Dean was nominated posthumously for the 1956 Academy Awards as Best Actor in a Leading Role, the first official posthumous acting nomination in Academy Awards history.
Now they live for it.
Yeah, and then
can we give a dead guy an award?
And then they snub him at the Oscars, Chadwick Boseman.
Literally.
I can't get it.
The Academy loves giving actors their flowers after they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Heath Ledger. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, I just can't deal.
No.
I think they were like, we're not going to give it to Chadwick because it's obvious. I'm like, no, you need to fucking give it to Chadwick.
No, they fully thought they were going to give it to Chadwick, which is why they rearranged. They were surprised it wasn't Chadwick.
Yeah.
That goes to show the Academy does not know who the winners are.
Yeah. So after Rebel Without a Cause, Dean wanted to avoid being typecast as a teenager. So he went on to film Giant, where he played a Texas ranch hand who strikes oil and becomes wealthy. To portray an older version of his character in the film's later scenes, Dean even dyed his hair gray, shaved some of it off to give himself a receding hairline.
Commitment.
Yes.
Lee Strasberg was proud.
Probably. Giant would prove to be Dean's last film.
That movie is so long.
I have never seen it.
I've gone to watch it, and I'm like, it's over 3 hours long.
Wow. I mean, I'd be interested in seeing it.
Old films that long. It's just like, ugh. I have to watch it in pieces.
Yeah. At the end of filming, Dean was supposed to make a drunken speech at a banquet. This scene is nicknamed, quote, The Last Supper, because it was the last scene before his sudden death. Due to his desire to make the scene more realistic by actually being Arf Arf and Arf.
Arf Arf and Arf.
You like that?
I do.
Actually being drunk.
Yeah.
Arf
Arf Arf and Arf.
You'd have to have listened to our last episode to get that joke.
Mm-hmm. You better listen, because we're going to reference all these Victorian phrases down the line.
Daddles.
Daddles.
Okay. Oh, you have to be there to get it.
You have to be there, guys. Inside joke between us and our listeners.
You better go backwards. Dean mumbled so much that the director needed the scene to be dubbed over. But since Dean died before the film was edited, actor Nick Adams, who had a small role, stepped in to do the dub.
That's so hard because James Dean had such a distinct talking voice.
He did. Dean received his second posthumous Best Actor Academy Award nomination for his role in Giant. Okay, so Dean was super interested in motorsport, and he wanted to race in the Indy 500 someday. Mm-hmm. He competed in a few races in which he always ranked very high, even winning first place at the Palm Springs road races. On September 30th, 1955, James, stunt coordinator Bill Hickman, photographer Sanford Roth, and German mechanic Rolf Wutherwijk.
Oh, what?
Let me try that again.
Yeah, try that again.
Rolf Wutherwijk. I'm totally making that up. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced.
I'm sure.
I don't want to offend the Germans.
No, that's the last thing you want to do.
Wutherwijk?
Wutherwijk? Let me see it.
Wutherwijk.
Wutherwijk. Wutherreich!
Maybe it's Wutherreich. Rolf.
Yeah, we'll just call him Ralphie.
He maintained Dean's Spider, the Porsche that we talked about.
Which it's not the time. It's not your lunch break. Did you clock out? You look like you're going to puke on your food.
Don't do that. Maybe puke on the floor if you're going to puke. No, you're going to sniff around it. That's interesting.
Fine.
That's a choice. So Rolf, he was a German mechanic who maintained Dean's Spider, which they nicknamed Little bastard.
The little bastard.
Yeah. That whole group of people started to make their way to the upcoming Salinas Road Race, which was scheduled for October 1st and 2nd.
Anything for Salinas.
Not that Salinas.
Oh.
Salina.
I know.
At 3:30 p.m., Dean was ticketed for speeding, as was Hickman, who was following behind him in another car. As the group drove westbound on U.S. Route 466, which is currently 46, near Chalem, California, at approximately 5:45 p.m., a 1950 Ford Tudor, driven by 23-year-old Cal Poly student Donald Turnipseed, was traveling east. Turnipseed made a left turn onto Highway 41, headed north toward Fresno, ahead of the oncoming Porsche. Dean, unable to stop in time due to speeding, saw the Ford and said his last words to Wutherick, quote, "That guy's got to stop. He'll see us," right before he slammed into the passenger side of the Ford, resulting in Dean's car bouncing across the pavement onto the side of the highway. Dean's passenger, Wutherick, was thrown from the Porsche while Dean was trapped in the car. Okay, this is a little gruesome, I'm sorry. His left foot was crushed between the clutch and brake pedal. Dean's neck was broken. Both his arms were broken. He had fractures of the upper and lower jaw and massive internal injuries.
You know what's crazy is this is so not the death that they sold. They made it sound like he was under the influence. There was a girl in the car. He was driving on the wrong side of the road on Mulholland and was being reckless. He didn't. Not that he had a man in the car.
Nope.
Was not on Mulholland.
Who was a
not
mechanic.
under the influence.
He had a German mechanic in his car. No.
This is so far from the story I've heard. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Turnipseed, who was the other driver, exited his damaged vehicle with minor injuries.
I don't even think this is the way it's portrayed in the James Franco movie.
I don't know.
This is crazy.
I haven't seen it, so I can't.
I know. I don't remember fully.
The accident was witnessed by a number of witnesses who stopped to help. A woman with nursing experience attended to Dean and detected a weak pulse. But, quote, death appeared to have been instantaneous, end quote. So there's a lot of confusing.
You can have brain death.
Yeah.
And still have like a pulse.
Yeah.
So that might have been
could be
what she was referring to.
James was pronounced dead on arrival shortly after he arrived by ambulance at the Paso Robles War Memorial Hospital at 6:20 p.m. Dean's funeral was held on October 8th, 1955, at the Fairmont Friends Church in Fairmont, Indiana. His coffin remained closed to conceal his severe injuries. An estimated 600 mourners were in attendance.
Wow.
While another 2,400 fans gathered outside of the building during the procession. He is buried at Park Cemetery, also in Fairmont. An inquest into Dean's death occurred 3 days later at the council chambers in San Luis Obispo.
San Luis Obispo.
Yes. SLO, SLO County, if you will.
Yeah.
Where the sheriff coroner's jury delivered a verdict that he was entirely at fault due to speeding. And that Turnipseed was innocent of any criminal act. However, according to an article in the LA Times from October 1st, 2005, a former California Highway Patrol officer who had been called to the scene, named Ron Nelson, contradicted reports that Dean had been traveling at 90 miles per hour, stating, quote, "The wreckage and the position of Dean's body indicated his speed at the time of the accident was more like 55 miles per hour.
Which is more like the speed limit.
Yeah. I just think it was just bad.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Yeah.
I think somebody took a left turn or a right turn when they weren't supposed to, and collision happened. A James Dean monument has been placed at Shandon next to Highway 46 and stands to this day. Following the tragic collision, rumors spread over the years and decades that Dean had not really died, but was living a secret hidden life.
Right, sure.
That he was a closeted homosexual.
Yeah.
That the Porsche in which he was driving on that fateful day was cursed.
Right.
Although the car itself had been totaled, some of its parts were able to be salvaged and sold off individually.
Nice.
But strange things happened to those people who bought them. The engine was sold to a doctor who was killed in a crash the first time he used it.
Huh.
Another driver was injured when 2 tires he had purchased from the car blew out simultaneously. The driver of the truck transporting the shell skid off the road and was killed.
Huh.
Yeah. Dean was also warned against driving the car before his death by actor Sir Alec Guinness. He recalled Dean showing off his new Porsche Spyder to him, and he immediately felt increasingly uncomfortable looking at the car. Remembering their meeting, Guinness says he told Dean, quote, "If you get in that car, you will be found dead in it by this time next week," end quote.
Was he found dead in it by this time next week?
Dean shrugged off the warning, and the two went off to have dinner. Guinness said, quote, "He was dead the following Thursday afternoon."
Oh, my God.
End quote.
He's a psychic.
So to touch, and I didn't write this down, but to touch on the rumors of James Dean's sexuality, there was a quote that I read, and I didn't really want to touch on it because I didn't find it important. B, who the fuck cares?
Right.
But I did love what he had to say about it, and I don't know why I didn't write it down, but he said a quote, and this isn't a direct quote because I'm just remembering it off the top of my head. When somebody asked him about his sexuality, whether or not, because a lot of rumors were that he was bisexual.
Yeah.
Not gay.
Right.
Because he did have relationships with women.
Right.
And very prominent ones.
Right.
And he said that he wasn't going to answer that, and that he also didn't want to live life with one hand tied behind his back.
Right.
Which I thought...
He was ahead of his time, James Dean.
Was an unreal way to answer that question.
At that time.
It's like the Harry Styles way of answering that question.
It is.
Which it's like, yes, you've seen me be with women, but it
not
doesn't matter.
Going to label myself because I don't need to.
I'm not going to live with one hand tied behind my back because of what you want me to say.
Right.
It's not interesting.
Right.
It's not important.
Right.
Who cares? Quaker.
Love it.
Yes.
And it also completely alienates entire groups of people from being able to relate to him.
And feel like they're allowed to love him.
Right.
There's a safety in that. So I did want to say that in hindsight.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really beautiful way of describing his sexuality. And he might have been bisexual, and that's fine.
I think it's important for us to note at this point that we are not speculating or labeling James Dean, and we are very, very against people who force sexualities on other people or force other people out of a closet that they may not even be in.
Right.
So there is no confirmation that James Dean was gay or bisexual, and the words did not come out of his mouth, but the way he answered that question was badass and ahead of his time.
Yeah.
So kudos to James Dean.
That's the only reason why I wanted to share.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I thought it was not important or relevant to his story, but I thought it was cool.
Yep.
So my sources.
Yep.
Wikipedia.
Yep.
A biography.com article called James Dean's Death, Inside His Tragic Passing at age 24 by Colin Bertram.
God, he was only 24?
Only 24.
I thought he was 27.
Nope. Film Daily article called James Dean's Death, All the Theories About What Happened. All That's Interesting article called American Icon, James Dean's Death Was Not Only Sudden and Brutal, but Also Incredibly Strange by Gina DeMuro. I'm actually going to post this on our Patreon, so if you don't follow us on Patreon, please join us at patreon.com/howawfulpodcast. I'm going to post his accident reenactment video.
Okay.
Which is a really interesting video. It just shows it's just like a reenactment of where the cars could have turned and how they collided. And
it's what they do in forensics to figure out. So,
so it's kind of cool to watch.
For sure.
I'll post that as a little Patreon goodie.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah, that's the story of James Byron Dean.
He was a little weirdo, and he probably would have been a really cool person.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen his career.
For sure.
So sad. But yeah, East of Eden had just come out in theaters.
When he died.
That
sucks.
So he got to live a little bit of the fame of
but
East
the
of Eden.
studio was partially like, oh man, you can't buy this kind of publicity. They were.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a part of the Warner Brothers studio that was like, man, sad to lose Heath Ledger, but oh man, this is great for the Dark Knight sales.
God, yeah, that's so fucked up.
Seriously. Okay, man. Shit.
Yeah, I was holding on to that one, mostly because I had heard about the car.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting twist.
Yeah, a little bit of a paranormal twist.
It was a mini combo.
I love a mini combo.
There's not too many stories, but that's what I have heard about his.
No, that's really interesting. Literally everybody dies.
Yeah. But here's actually the devil's advocate of it all.
Uh-huh.
We don't actually have proof of the tracking of the parts of James Dean's car.
Right. It's assumption.
This is hearsay.
Okay.
These are stories.
Got it.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Most paranormal is just that.
But like we like to believe.
Yep.
It's way more fun to believe than
it's way more fun
to say it's not true.
Just do it, guys.
Just have fun with it. This is a podcast. Who cares?
It?
Yeah. So to James Dean.
Moment. To James Dean. Not to Winton. I don't like your name.
Let's not tie one hand behind our back.
It's a good toast.
Yeah.
All right.
That was really corny, but
but I like it.
Yeah. Good corny.
Okay.
I hope you guys cheered with us.
Cheers with, yeah.
I'm already like stumbling over my words.
It's fine.
I'm tired.
It's fine.
I'm excited to hear yours.
Okay.
I have an inkling of what it might be.
Really?
I don't know why.
I wonder if I'm right. I wonder if you're right. Okay.
We'll see.
Well, a true crime. I know I just did serial killers. I unintentionally ended up with another serial killer.
This is why I think I might know what it is.
I stuck with it. So this one is out of South Carolina. Todd Kohlhepp.
Nope.
Was caught on August 31st, 2016 after cell phone tracing led police to his 96-acre land in Woodruff, South Carolina, where they found Kayla Brown, a 30-year-old woman who had been hired to clean the property, chained to a wall inside a metal storage container. But more on that later.
Oh, okay.
Suspense. Who do you think it was?
I thought you were going to do the Craigslist killer.
No, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I just heard a podcast episode about that guy.
He's the worst. And his daughter put up those Craigslist ads.
He didn't have a daughter.
Oh, then there was a different one.
I think there were, you know what?
Smiley,
I think you're right.
No, yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think there were multiple Craigslist killers. I think there's 2.
Yeah, there was a guy who he literally killed somebody over like $5, and his daughter felt terrible because she put up the ads. There's
one, and then there's another guy. I don't remember his name. Phil something. Anyway, go ahead about Todd. Todd?
Yeah, Todd.
Toddley.
Toddley. So I'm gonna let's give you some backstory and the lead up to finding Kayla, shall we?
Shall we?
Okay. Todd was born in Florida in 1971. His parents divorced when he was 2 years old. His mother got custody and married another man the following year. Later, psychological reports found that Kohlhepp had an unhealthy relationship with his stepfather and often wanted to live with his biological father, whom he had not seen in 8 years. Kohlhepp was described as a wow.
I know. It's late.
Rubber baby bubby bumpers. I didn't even do that right.
Rubber baby booby bumper.
All right. Kohlhepp was described as a troublesome child. In nursery school, he was known to be aggressive towards other children and would destroy their property.
Children had property? Hold on. What property do children have?
I don't know.
Bikes?
I don't know.
Probably their bicycles.
Maybe their bicycles. At the age of 9, when he started undergoing counseling, Kohlhepp was described as being explosive and preoccupied with sexual content.
God, why are they all the same?
He also displayed cruelty to animals, shooting a dog with a BB gun and killing a goldfish? And killing a goldfish with Clorox bleach.
Fun.
In modern psychology, cruelty to animals is thought by many academics to be a common trait of the young psychopathic individual, the McDonald triad, as we've talked about.
No way!
As in Kohlhepp's case, some may work up to harming human beings as adults.
Some may.
Kohlhepp's father later said that the only emotion his son was capable of was anger. Kohlhepp spent 3.5 months in a Georgia psychiatric hospital as an inpatient because of his inability to get along with other children.
I know people like this. This is a problem.
Yes, I know. Eventually, in 1983, you touched me.
You had a little hair on you.
Oh. Eventually, in 1983, Kohlhepp was sent to live with his biological father in Arizona after his mother and stepfather separated. He took his father's surname and began working a number of local jobs.
I don't want to alarm you, but there's a creature behind you.
Oh my God.
Like, literally.
It's an assistant.
Right behind
she
you.
She just wants to be close to me. Okay. It's fine.
Sorry.
I
couldn't find her, and then I found her.
She's there. He also inherited his father's hobby of collecting weapons and was taught by him to blow things up and make bombs. Despite this,
Why are men?
I don't know. Despite this, their relationship deteriorated due to his father's absence with a number of girlfriends, and Kohlhepp expressed desires to return to his mother, though she reportedly made excuses to extend his stay. She's like, no, keep him.
I don't blame her.
No.
Just kill him.
On November 2nd, wow! Drown him like a kitten.
I already know he's gonna be naughty, so.
Yeah, he's about to be. On November 25th, 1986, 15-year-old Kohlhepp kidnapped a 14-year-old girl in Tempe, Arizona.
Okay.
He threatened her with a .22 caliber revolver, brought her back to his home, tied her up, taped her mouth shut, and raped her.
Oh, what a nice guy. What
Yep.
a guy.
What a guy. Afterwards, he walked her home and threatened to kill her younger siblings if she told anyone about what had happened. Kohlhepp was charged with kidnapping, sexual assault, and committing a dangerous crime against children.
Cole.
In 1987,
Cole.
Call.
I thought his name was Todd.
Todd. I said Kohlhepp.
Who's Kohlhepp?
Todd.
Track?
Todd Kohlhepp.
Oh, what's his last name?
Okay.
I gotta focus.
In 1987, he pled guilty to the kidnapping charge, and the other charges were dropped. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison and registered as a sex offender.
Yeah, no shit.
According to court records, Kohlhepp was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and had an IQ of 118, which was considered above average.
It is.
So he was a smart one. The judge in the case said Kohlhepp was very bright and should be advanced academically, but behaviorally and emotionally dangerous, and likely could not be rehabilitated.
No.
Kohlhepp's probation officer wrote a similar description in court papers and added that he felt the world owed him something. Kohlhepp's attorney in that case later went on to say that while defending him, he did not believe his client would go on to harm others in the future. During his imprisonment, Kohlhepp was initially cited for violations that included some violent behavior. After turning 20, however, he had no other records of disobedience. He just really didn't like being a teenager. I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby. Okay.
Yeah.
In August 2001, he was released from prison to live with his mother after 14 years in jail. He got a bachelor's degree and a bachelor's of science degree. After lying on his application about his felonies and being on the sex offenders list, he was also able to obtain a real estate license and built a firm of over a dozen employees. He was able to acquire a private pilot's license, as well as buying several properties out of state. So Teddy Boy was doing better than all of us.
Toddy?
Toddy.
Toddy, baby?
I wrote Toddy, but I said Teddy.
Toddy.
Toddy Boy. A customer who sold her home to Kohlhepp remembered him as extremely outgoing and professional, but noted that he would often talk about his firearms and sometimes subtly use sexual innuendo during their conversations.
I mean, I know people like this.
Yes. Devin. Yeah. Conversely, a woman who assisted one of Kohlhepp's employees described him as angry and condescending towards his partner. A banker who worked with Kohlhepp said he often watched pornographic videos, even at work. Kohlhepp frequented a Waffle House restaurant in Roebuck where his behavior disturbed the waitresses to the point where the male cook began to take Kohlhepp's orders for them. According to this employee, one of the waitresses was Megan Lee McCraw-Coxey, who would later become one of Kohlhepp's victims. On November 6, 2003, happy birthday to you.
I was 13.
A customer...
I was 16.
Yep. A customer... You were getting your driver's license.
Nope, I was 16.
A customer found 4 people shot to death inside Superbike Motorsports, a motorcycle shop in Chesney.
I know exactly where I was on that day.
Where were you?
I was at the DMV.
Getting your license. Yes, same with me.
Shit.
The victims were identified as owner Scott Ponder, 30, a service manager Brian Lucas, 30, mechanic Chris Sherbert, 26, and bookkeeper Beverly Guy, 52.
It's really hard for me to not shout, Sherbert!
Who was Ponder's mother. All 4 died from multiple gunshot wounds. Before Kohlhepp confessed to the shootings in 2016, investigators believe that the gunman, armed with a pistol, entered the shop from the back and killed Sherbert as he worked. He then killed Guy in the middle of his showroom, Lucas at the main doorway, and Ponder in the parking lot. According to Ponder's wife, Kohlhepp was a disgruntled customer who had been in the shop several times. According to Kohlhepp's mother, he attempted to return a motorcycle there, but the employees laughed at him when he couldn't ride it and would not return the money he had paid for the motorcycle when he tried to return it. And then they embarrassed him for not knowing how to ride. So it's a good reason to kill someone.
How about you be less sensitive?
Yeah. Like this is, now you can't laugh at people. I mean, don't laugh at people.
Don't laugh at people.
Laugh with people.
But like people
Because they might be a psycho and they might come back and kill you and your mother. Literally.
Man, they're way too delicate.
Seriously.
Especially men.
Delicate flowers. On August 31st, 2016, Kayla Brown, 30, and her boyfriend Charles David Carver, 32, went missing after they went to clean Kohlhepp's residence. Carver was later found dead of multiple gunshots on Kohlhepp's property. Interest in the disappearance of Brown and Carver increased as a result of posts on Carver's Facebook account following their disappearance, the unusual nature of which prompted speculation that another party had taken control of his Facebook account. On November 3rd, Brown was found by authorities chained to the wall inside a metal storage container on the property. Investigators had traced her down after tracing the couple's last known cell phone signals, after which they heard banging noises coming from inside the container.
Oh.
A search of Kohlhepp's property recovered Carver's vehicle, which was found in a ravine covered in bush. In brush. It's not covered in bush. It's brush. I'm reading on my cell phone after a couple glasses of wine. According
this
to...
This one is stronger than
the last. Yeah.
We barely drank this one. Holy crap.
These are big wine glasses, friend. According to Brown, she witnessed Carver being shot by Kohlhepp, so she watched her boyfriend be shot.
Oh.
Kohlhepp's mother claimed Carver was killed for having a really smart mouth, which Kohlhepp did not like. He also said he kept Brown captive because she did not do anything wrong and that he did not want to hurt her. However, Brown stated to police just after her rescue that Kohlhepp had killed Carver because Kohlhepp was mad at her. During her captivity, Brown was intimidated into not escaping after having been shown the graves of Kohlhepp's other victims. One detail that gives one of the creepiest insights into Kohlhepp's state of mind is what he was planning to do with Brown. She revealed to Dr. Phil in 2017 that he was going to build a house on his farm in Woodruff, including a soundproof room for Brown to live in.
What?
It seemed that Kohlhepp had an entire horrible future coexistence in mind for himself and his hostage.
Oh my God.
2 bodies were discovered on Kohlhepp's property following his arrest. On November 6th through 7th, they were later identified as husband and wife Johnny Joe Coxey, 29, and Megan Lee McCraw Coxey, 26, residents of Spartanburg, who were reported missing on December 22nd, 2015. They were allegedly hired by Kohlhepp to work on its property. McCraw Coxey had been killed by a gunshot wound to the head on December 25th or 26th, while Coxey had been killed a week earlier by a gunshot wound to the torso. According to the county coroner, they were identified through their extensive tattoos.
No.
Kohlhepp was arrested shortly after Brown's rescue. He later confessed to the Chesney shootings and the murders of the Coxeys in exchange for allowing him to talk to his mother, give her a photograph, and transfer money to the college fund of a friend's child. So they let him do all this stuff.
What?
Yeah, I know. While meeting with his mother, he reportedly confessed to the killings and kidnapping. When he confessed to the Chesney shootings, Kohlhepp said he shot each of the victims once in the forehead, a detail in the investigation that was never released to the public.
Interesting.
A search of Kohlhepp's property also uncovered numerous weapons, including 9mm pistols outfitted with suppressors, semi-automatic rifles, and an undetermined amount of ammunition. Because there was no record of a background check under Kohlhepp's name for the purchase of a firearm, investigators believe he likely acquired the weapons illegally. Or at a gun show, because you don't need to... Yeah. Anyway, shortly following Kohlhepp's arrest, authorities in Spartanburg County discovered a number of seemingly joking product reviews for various items on Amazon, such as padlocks, shovels, tasers, and gun accessories on retail websites, written by a user known simply as me. One review about a padlock stated, quote, "Solid locks, have 5 on a shipping container. Won't stop them, but sure will slow them down till they are too old to care."
Oh my God.
Also, quote, "Works great. If someone talks back, go old school on them by putting it in a sock and beating them. They will not appreciate the hardened steel like you will." Another written for a folding shovel read, quote, "Keep in car for when you have to hide the bodies and you left the full-size shovel at home. Does not come with a midget." Sorry, politically incorrect. Which would have been nice. Why would it have been nice?
I'm so lost.
The reviewer
I've lost track of this whole thing.
The reviewer's wish list page was listed as Todd Kohlhepp. So he was leaving Amazon reviews describing how he was using these instruments to torture and kill people.
Would it have been nice if it came with a little person?
Yes. Don't understand that part. Maybe because it's a mini shovel and he thought it'd be cute. I don't know.
He is
Would kind of be cute. Okay. Following his arrest, Kohlhepp claimed to his mother that there were many other victims aside from the aforementioned. When his mother asked how many, his response was, quote, "You do not have enough fingers," end quote. During interrogation, he claimed to have shot a victim in Arizona. On November 18th, 2016, it was reported that the Tempe Police Department had begun an investigation into Kohlhepp's claim, searching through unsolved homicides in the past 3 decades. They said they were focused on cases dated from 1983 to 1986 when Kohlhepp was living with his father, and also between August 2001 when Kohlhepp completed his sentence for kidnapping and November 2001 when he moved back to South Carolina. On November 25th, 2016, police in Greer, South Carolina announced that they had named Kohlhepp as a person of interest in an unsolved 2003 bank robbery and triple homicide at the local Blue Ridge Savings Bank. This crime was separated from the Chesney shootings by 6 months. However, as of May 16, 2018, no definitive link between Kohlhepp and the killings was established, and Kohlhepp has denied any involvement in the case. So clearly, he is very proud of his murders. He probably would have admitted it. Yeah. Probably wasn't him. God. In December 2017, Kohlhepp wrote to the Spartanburg Herald-Journal claiming that he had more victims who had not been discovered. On May 26, 2017, Kohlhepp pleaded guilty to 7 counts of murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of criminal sexual assault, and was sentenced to 7 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole in a plea bargain that spared him from capital punishment.
That's fine.
Although, it's rat. Although his defense swore at his sentencing that there were no other victims to be found, Kohlhepp has since repeatedly admitted there were at least 2 other murders. As of August 2018, he has yet to give authorities the details.
He's like, come on, figure it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's Todd Kohlhepp. Just a gem. Just a gem.
What a piece of work.
Just a gem. So my sources are 12 horrifying facts about serial killer Todd Kohlhepp. It's a ranker.com article. And then thefamouspeople.com article called Todd Kohlhepp Biography, Facts, Childhood Crimes of Serial Killer. And his Wikipedia.
I was going to say, no Wikipedia?
Of course it's Wikipedia.
We love Wikipedia.
Come on. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was just like, I remember the guy who chained a girl inside of a storage container in South Carolina. I'm going to look him up. I knew he had killed her boyfriend in front of her. I did not know he was a serial killer and a complete psycho. I mean, obviously he was a psychopath.
Right.
But
that's the thing. Whenever they go to court and they're like, we're going to plead insanity. I'm like, well...
Avi.
Yeah, literally every single person.
Tell me something I don't already know.
Like when somebody goes to jail and they're like, Albert Fish.
Yeah.
Declared sane.
Yes. No.
He's not sane.
This is what scares me is that...
And I don't want him to be forgiven.
No.
I'm just saying, he's not sane.
Some of these killers are fully functioning members of society.
Yes.
Some are contributing members of society.
A pillar, if you will.
Like BTK.
Yes.
Who was horrific, and he was like a man of church. He was good at his job. He was a loving father and husband and an absolute psychopath.
Yeah. No, I don't get it. They're very good at acting.
Normal. Yet, I get why men like that, people like that, are not considered insane because they're able to carry on a normal life.
Yeah, but there's just something.
But they can't turn off this part of it. I mean, I'm saying I get why they're considered sane because they're able to carry on a life, but they're not.
Yeah, we haven't found the name for it yet, but there is an illness there.
It's psychopathy. Yeah. They can completely behave. No, that is.
Izzy.
Shh. She's eating Musha's food. She's busy. That is psychopathy. Is
Musha's face.
Is being able to portray themselves as completely normal while being absolute monsters.
No, yeah, it is. But it's just like.
Sociopathy is like being able to mimic real emotions when you don't feel them at all.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe he was a sociopath. Clearly, he was not a fun person. And you can be a sociopath and even a psychopath without being a murderer.
Right.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
These are actual clinical diseases.
Do you have anything wonderful to share?
Yeah. I got 2.
All right. Oh.
Yeah. So my first how wonderful is even though I could not afford it, I splurged on some me time and got my hair did.
Yeah, and it looks really cute.
Thank you. I agree.
I like it.
And it put the pep in my step. It made me feel good.
That's what you need.
Yes, exactly. And my second how wonderful is that Timothée Chalamet is co-hosting the Met Gala.
Yes.
That's a good
lineup.
He has been named the most influential man in fashion.
Yeah.
Yet has never gone to the Met Gala. Make it make sense.
Well, this is the way to do it.
But yeah, I mean, we have Timothée Chalamet, Billie Eilish, Amanda Gorman, and Naomi Osaka are the co-hosts.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a tweet from our friend Tyler who was like, this reeks of hello, fellow kids. Not Vogue, but Anna Wintour is trying very hard to appeal to the younger generation with this lineup.
Yeah,
but
wasn't
you
wrong.
know what? She is.
Which, by the way, if you're a fan of fashion, we're going to shout out our friend. Her
Yeah.
Twitter is Eiffel Tyler.
Eiffel Tyler.
So like the Eiffel Tower, except Eiffel Tyler.
Eiffel Tyler. She is the editor-in-chief at fashionista.com.
Yeah.
She is Gossip Girl obsessed. She is somehow friends with Gemma Stiles. And she is amazing.
Yeah, she's really cool.
Yeah.
She did not ask for this plug.
She didn't ask for it. I don't even think she
listens.
listens. No, she doesn't listen to this.
So here we are.
But here we are anyway. We still support her if she's just so fashionable. She's so wonderful.
Yeah.
She will cover the Met Gala for sure. But anyway, So Met Gala is like Christmas for me. They have the lamest theme in the world this year. It's literally American fashion. And they were like, let's get Timothée Chalamet with an accent aigu in his name.
It's clearly because of COVID restrictions.
It is.
That's my guess.
No, I don't know about all that. But like this excludes so many of the most prominent fashion houses. No Gucci, no YSL, no Dior, no Fendi, no Louis Vuitton, no Versace. You can't do any of this.
No. I don't even know American fashion designers. Fashion designers?
It's Tommy Hilfiger,
okay, yeah.
Calvin Klein. Boring. Sorry, boring. I really hope Timothy wears like Pyre Moss or Off-White, something. Izzy, no, it's not gal time.
Izzy, what's wrong?
I hope he wears a designer of color.
Yeah.
Which I trust he will.
Yeah.
If not a female designer. And I hope it is out of the box.
I do too.
Because if anyone can do it, he can do it.
Yeah. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, Amanda Gorman brings it all the time. Naomi Osaka brings it all the time.
Yeah.
I am very interested to see what Billie Eilish wears now that she is embracing her God-given body.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah, seriously.
Her
Her
Vogue
Vogue shoot.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So sick.
So laid.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your How Wonderful?
I'm going to shout out another podcast.
Oh, okay.
It is a podcast called The Black Tapes that I just completed.
Okay.
It's a narrative podcast. So it's like a script, if you will. And it's a horror podcast.
Interesting.
And it was really...
Izzy, it is not meow meow time.
It was interesting. It kept me on the edge of my seat. It was spooky. When I first started listening to it, it plays like a journalist interviewing people.
Okay.
So at first, I didn't know it was a narrative. And I was like, man, these people are dramatic.
Melodrama.
And I thought it was like a real, and I guess I looked into it, and a lot of people do believe that they're like, oh, it's real, real, but it's not.
It's not.
It's a narrative.
Okay.
So a lot of people get tricked into thinking it's real because of how it plays.
Right.
And I'll give them this. The acting isn't great.
Right.
But the writing is interesting.
Got it.
And it is really spooky. They basically talk about Slender Man without calling him Slender Man.
Oh,
and it really freaked me out.
Slenderman is really messed up.
I listened to it one night in the bath, and I was like, this was a bad idea because I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Because I was so spooked out.
It was not a calming thing.
I guess it's not wonderful, but it's more fun. So check out The Black Tapes if you want to listen to a horror podcast that's like more narrative and
love it.
Cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Let's pick our topics.
Pick door.
All right. What'd you get?
I don't know. I didn't open it yet.
I got lore.
And I got paranormal.
Paranormal.
So we're going to have a spoopy episode.
Spoopy episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, we've been doing the plugs through the whole episode, but just in case you missed it, we're on every social media except for Pinterest at howawfulpodcast.com. How Awful Podcast, just in general. And that is Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, How Awful Podcast. You can go to howawfulpodcast.com and get the whole list of where you can find us. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Am I right?
That's right.
You can also go to patreon.com/howawfulpodcast and give us your money, and we will give you more content. Videos coming. just follow it. Just give us money so we can do fun things. Like go to haunted hotels and record podcasts and videos and explorations, if you will.
That's right.
You can email us at howawfulpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us your spooky stories like Lizzie and Sophie demonstrated today. Have you been murdered? Let us know. Do you know somebody who's been murdered? Tell us the story.
Have you been abducted by aliens?
That too. And really anything you wanna let us know that pertains to How Awful or How Wonderful, howawfulpodcast@gmail.com. Please tell us your preferred pronouns and if we have permission to read your story. That's it. YouTube. How Awful Podcast on YouTube. She's just staring at me. Her brain turned off again. It went to bed. It's Betty Bye time. It just powered off. Yeah, podcast. Yeah. You can. How Awful Podcast. We have that. You can find us at our podcast.
You're recording me?
How Awful Podcast on YouTube if you want transcribed episodes for your hard of hearing friends.
I didn't know we had a podcast.
We do. We're doing it.
Have you been recording me this whole time?
Hit record.
I thought we were just telling each other spooky stories.
Again by heart.
Just like, honestly though, this is how we talk to each other.
I know.
This isn't fake.
No,
this isn't performed.
No.
We would tell each other these fucked up stories.
We would. That's why we decided to do this, because we were doing it for free. We're still doing it for free. Let's be honest.
We got money.
Oh, we got money now.
Yeah, we got Patreons.
Sweet.
So remember that. Patreon.com/howawfulpodcast. Join the club.
She doesn't know if I did them all because she wasn't paying attention. So let's just say I did.
You did. I was paying attention.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine. Good times. Good times. Who are you? What?
Izzy's doing the weird thing.
Is she fired?
She's just scrambling around the apartment. What are you looking for?
Izzy. And she's fired.
She's got the zoomies.
Who are you?
I'm not Izzy. I'm Tanya Lee.
You're not Izzy. You are Tanya Lee. And I am also not Izzy.
Do you see this?
I see her. She's got the zoomies. IMB.
Did we already do this?
I don't know. No, I don't think we did.
Tanya Lee. I just said I'm
No,
not
you
Izzy.
already said it. Oh, sweet Jesus. We're the How Awful Podcast.
We'll see you next week with Lauren Paranormal. Woohoo!
I walked the lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but I walk alone. Oh, God, I just disrespected Green Day on this here podcast.
I knew that on the guitar once.
You did?
Yes.
My shadow's the only one that walks beside me. As always, we've been B and Tanya Lee. Our logo was created by MJ Savard, and our theme music courtesy of Nikki Lou.